The unsurpassed, penetrating and perfect truth is seldom met with, even in 100,000 myriad kalpas. Now we can see and hear it. We can remember and accept it. I vow to make the Buddha's truth one with myself. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha. So we just had our memorial ceremony for Koho Zenji, our master's master, who is our founder. Most of our temples have Reverend Master Jiyu as their founder. I seem to be echoing. But we have Koho Zenji, because Reverend Master founded this temple in her master's name. That's what you do. You don't just found it in your own name, my temple, I'm the founder. You do it in the name of your master, because you're grateful to them, because they've taught you the Dharma. And they're the ones who really responsible for us being here. So Koho Zenji is our founder. Reverend Master was grateful to him, and we're grateful to him, because we wouldn't have been here without him. Well, none of us ever met Koho Zenji. He died in 1967 in Japan before Reverend Master ever came over to the US. So he's kind of a shadowy figure for us, and it gets more shadowy. Reverend Master knew him, and some of us had never met Reverend Master Jiyu, although many of us did. And so she's getting shadowy too for some of us. So. But we owe him a great debt of gratitude, Koho Zenji. He was the abbot of Sojiji in Japan, one of the two head temples of Soto Zen over there. He went to England on a lecture tour, and that's where we met Reverend Master Jiyu. She helped arrange his tour of doing lectures and so forth in Britain. And he invited her to come to Japan to study with him. And she took him up on it. She left behind her life in England, this was in the, 62. I mean, you never did that in Britain. You don't just uproot and go to Japan, going native. Anyway, so she left her behind, all her stuff in England, her life, her career and everything, and went to train in Sojiji in Japan. And that was a temple for only male Japanese monks, most of them young men who had been sent by their families to study for a year or so to become priests, and then they go back to their family. Well, Reverend Master Jiyu was 38, an English woman, 1962, not that long after the war, so they'd been enemy nations. So she met with a lot of resistance, and people weren't really keen to have her there. Although the old monks really helped her, and Koho Zenji supported her all the way. She was ill often, and everything was it was really difficult, and she almost left. But as we know, we've read The Wild White Goose, she didn't leave, she stayed and turned it around, said, I must take everything as being for my good, and that, otherwise I'll go mad. And that helped her immeasurably. And Koho Zenji, the abbot, was at her back, and she knew that, and that really helped her to make it through. He saw that she did all went through the ranks of training of priests. Transmission, he gave her the transmission. Kesse is a series of ceremonies that they do in Japan. We used to do it here, we haven't done so much lately. But it's where you become a full priest. You do a series of ceremonies. Women never did this. Foreigners never did this. And Koho Zenji sent Reverend Master Jiyu a fountain scepter, such as I use today, and a bamboo sword, because she needed those for the ceremonies. He sent those to her. He was really keen that she go through this, and some people were not happy, and some people were very happy that she was able to do these ceremonies and become a full priest in the Soto Zen tradition. So Koho Zenji was really, the one who helped her with everything. She asked her once, it was so hard, she asked if she could go to a female monk's temple to train, thought it'd be easier. And he said, no, stay here. So she did. And she was his personal disciple. Because he made there's a picture of her, of him, and with him in Zen is Eternal Life, I think it is. There as his personal disciple, and that really helped because it kind of cemented her position there. He made her the head of the foreign guest department because he wanted Zen to be spread in the West. So there were, I think at Yokosuka Naval Base, there were a lot of Americans there. And she met some of them, and they'd come and learn meditation, and she'd help them. And Koho Zenji was really keen on this. And he'd have tea with them quite often. There's a story about him having tea with a bunch of the Westerners, and one young person said, they were serving cream cakes. Many of us know the story. And one young person said, I didn't come here for cream cakes. I came here to meditate. Why is this? You should be rigorous. And Koho Zenji said, cream cakes? Eat all. I don't think he had to, but still he made the point, And there's lots of, there's all sorts of stories of conversations Rev Master had with him, things he helped her with. He was always there in the background, and you just get that feeling he was always there as a benevolent presence. She'd go and see him sometimes, and people wouldn't want to do it to her. The chaplains would try and keep her away, but she'd sneak by and go and see him. The fish. One time, she thought she was she tried to separate herself off from the other trainees because it was so difficult. And she bought Koho Zenji a beautiful goldfish, a special goldfish. And he said, oh, thank you. I'll put it carefully aside. I won't put it with the other fish. It's too special. I'll keep it as separate. And she thought, he's trying to tell me something. Eventually he put it into the pond with the other fish. But she got the point. She was listening and she got the point because she trusted him. Well, before she ever came, Koho Zenji wrote Soto Zen, which you have copies of in translation, I think in around 1960 or something. And it's kind of out of date now, but it's still got a lot of really good teaching in it. And he wrote it because he wanted to spread Soto Zen in the West. This was his great wish. He went on a lecture tour to Europe and to America. That's where he met Reverend Master Jiyu. And when he came to America, he asked President Eisenhower for permission to teach the Dharma in the West, in America. Because that's what you do. You ask the ruler of the country if you may spread the Dharma. And fortunately, President Eisenhower said yes. There's a picture of them shaking together. He really wanted to have the Dharma spread in the West. I think he felt we needed it. He was right. And he invited Reverend Master to train with him in Japan because he felt that she'd be a good person to bring the Dharma to the West, a good vessel of the teaching. And so she was. He used to say that when you bring the Dharma to a new country, it's like being a bride dressed in white, and she takes on the color of her husband. This is 1960s in Japan, so don't get upset, But you take on the color of your husband. And similarly, when you bring the Dharma to a new country, it takes on the color, the culture of that country. So in Soto Zen, he explains that Buddhism started in India, of course, and it had more of a philosophical bent to some extent, that it went to China and it changed because the people were different. And then it went to Japan, and again it changed because they were different, their culture was different. So now we are here in the West, and it's changed again, and it continues to change. And it's also very good to have somebody who speaks the languages and is familiar with the culture to bring the Dharma. It's difficult if you don't speak the language very well. So Reverend Master, when she came over, she started out with a lot of Japanese customs, and she had to adapt them. We hear the stories of the geta, which are those little wooden platform shoes that you make. Well, Reverend Master had the monks make these geta. And they go to the local, the COS, where they had a carpentry workshop. So the monks would go there and make these little funny shoe things. People said, what are they doing? And of course they didn't work. These are great big American monks. I mean, they were much too big for these little thingies. The ground was all uneven and muddy and awful, so they thought, that doesn't work, went back to shoes. You tried tatami mats. Well, they got moldy and rotted and they're too expensive to buy, so we went to a carpet. Things like that. No chopsticks. And but it was gradual. She didn't say, okay, we're going to change everything, we're not doing any of that anymore. She just changed it as it was needed. And that was the thing, gradual change as is needed, not, I'm going to change everything my way. It was just what was helpful. She could do this because she knew what was important in training and what was not. She knew that the fundamentals of Buddhism are not dependent on little shoes and tatami mats and all that and chopsticks. It's much deeper than that. And she had the confidence and the wisdom to know what you need to keep and what you don't. So she made lots of changes, and the essence was the same. The essence of the Dharma, which she passed on to us, that we try to embody, that compassion, wisdom, kindness that we try to pass on. If anything I remember from Reverend Master Ji, it was her compassion and her kindness. She could be really tough, and she could be kind. It was like in Koho Zenji, in the offertory we had. Sometimes he was we used to like the bright moon, and sometimes he was like a voice of thunder. Well, she could be the bright moon. She could also be a voice of thunder, believe me. But she had that flavor that we still have of fundamental kindness, helping beings, not just doing the official thing or trying to have it fossilized in some formal way. What's needed here? What will help this person? How do we make this work? You have all kinds of things happen. Okay, what do we do now? And that came from Koho Zenji. She loved Koho Zenji. It's quite apparent, because she'd talk about him a lot. She venerated him, she trusted him deeply. And when he told her something, she tried to understand it and put it into practice. Like the fish thing, she got it. When she'd been trained, she had a temple in the country, and Koho Zenji was sick. He was dying, probably. He was blind, he was bedridden, and he starting not to be able to hear very well. And his old cat died. And he wrote and told Reverend Master Jiyu, my cat has died. And she didn't just think, oh, well, that's sad. She thought, why is he telling me this? So she went and she found a little kitten and brought it to him and put it on his bed, and it went over and rubbed its little head against his hand, and he just was so happy to have this little being to love, this little creature, because she could see he was a human being. He needed something like that. He had always chaplains who were doing the official thing, but they didn't really care for him in that way, it would seem. But she did. And although she didn't see him that often, she knew that it would be really nice for him just to have a little cat to love. And that humanity and kindness. Reverend Master loved cats too. We had lots of cats and dogs. But there's just that kindness and sweetness, actually, of Koho Zenji, who loved cats, and Reverend Master. Koho Zenji, by the way, had all the doors in the monastery. It was a big place. All the doors fitted with a cat door, so that his cat go in and out of every door. Now, you sort of think that's cute, but you think, what was he trying to say? Don't keep your door shut against everybody else. Have a little hole so somebody can get in. There's a little space for some warmth, some little furry creature maybe, to come in, rather than keeping everything out and having it all sterile. And I think that was why he did that. England. There were people in England who thought they knew what Zen was, and they'd write to Koho Zenji and say, we want a Zen master. So he said, why, we've got Reverend Master Jiyu, here she is. He said, no, we want a male Japanese Zen master, a proper Zen master. And they had all this kind of trouble like this. And he'd ask Reverend Master what she thought he should do about these things, and she'd tell him sometimes. He wouldn't take her advice. He'd do what he wanted, but she didn't try and insist. She'd say, this is what I would do, and she'd just let it be. And as a result of all that, she came here. So we're happy, we're grateful. And she went over to England a couple of times and founded a temple over there. But at first, the British were not terribly welcoming, I'm sorry to say. There we are. Sometimes something that Reverend Master heard from Koho Zenji, she didn't understand. She'd tell us this, and she'd say she'd put it on the back burner, let it just cook. I don't understand this, I don't get it, but she didn't throw it away or reject it or disbelieve it. She said, I don't understand this yet, maybe I will one day. And there were some things she never got, she never understood, she didn't know what he meant, and something she didn't agree with. But it wasn't a problem. She didn't have to agree with everything. She had her own wisdom, but she didn't kind of negate Koho Zenji and say, oh, he's wrong. She just put it on the back burner and let it sit. She didn't have to sort it out or make it a problem, which is really helpful. There's something we don't understand. We don't have to make it a problem. We can just let it stew there. Buddhism is passed down through human beings, human relationships. It transcends our humanity and our mistakes and our little views and opinions about everything and our limitations. We're not perfect, And yet we still embody the Dharma, all of us, right within our conditions, our lives, our own limitations and so forth. We all embody the Dharma because we're all part of Buddha nature. And we're all trying to train ourselves. We're all trying to do our best. So we don't have to be perfect. We just need to do our best with wisdom, kindness and compassion. Human beings. The Dharma is for human beings, passed on by human beings. As I say, it's passed on from warm hand to warm hand. I really like that. Warm hand. It's a human being doing this. It's not some, person in the sky, which is why it's nice to talk about Koho Zenji, whom we never met. These little human stories of him, which we remember. Little human stories of Reverend Master Jiyu. Because we're all human beings. We're not some saint up there, And it's that human warmth, that compassion that makes it real and makes it possible and makes it something that we can practice. We can practice the Dharma. It's for us. It's for humans. Otherwise it would just be a kind of cold theory and it wouldn't be helpful. The way of kindness and compassion for all beings that she taught us. We all saw from her. We're all different. We all train in our own way. And as I said, each of us embodies the Dharma and understands it in our own way. We're all different. We teach and learn in our own way. I don't teach like the way Reverend Master did. It would be ridiculous to try. I'm not at all like her. All of us who teach do it in our own way. For better or worse, we do our best. It's not a self thing, being a me, this is my thing. It's more like it just comes out in whatever way it comes out. And if it's helpful, fine, good. If it's not helpful for somebody, we try to learn, do better. The blood of the Buddhas, the precepts, flow through all of us. We try to keep to them. In all our different ways, monks and lay trainees, male, female, young and old, we all try to keep to the precepts. We all have that blood of the Buddhas flowing through us, and blood is warm. It's warm because it's manifested in our human relationships. Keeping the precepts all by yourself is okay, but most of our precepts are actually in relation to other people, when you think about it. Don't lie, don't steal, don't speak against others. They're all about people. We're all connected. We do care for each other. And there has to be that human warmth, that kindness and compassion, or it just doesn't work. It just gets some kind of sterile form. It has to be human, has to be warm. Well, Koho Zenji was not a puffball. Clearly, he could be quite tough. He was the Abbot of Sotoji. He had about 200 monks that he was head of. So, Reverend Master's interactions with them were not all warm and fuzzy. Some of them were quite hard. She would not always understand. He was not attached to her. He wanted to help her. He wanted to spread the Dharma in the West. It wasn't because, there's some special attachment there. He wanted to spread the Dharma. And he wanted her to be a true vessel of the teaching. So he could be tough. And you can see that in some of the conversations they had with her. He had no vested interest. It was because it was good to do, to teach Reverend Master, to bring her over, teach her, and pass the Dharma on to her, and have her be fully certified as a master, a teacher, and able to teach in her own right. To make the Dharma available for everybody, because it's the medicine for all suffering. He had no vested interest himself, because he never, we didn't meet him, he didn't meet us. He came to America many years ago. He would have been delighted to see us all here, celebrating his memorial today. And there's something about Just doing something like that, no matter what people's race, nationality, gender, colour, beliefs, whatever. He wouldn't care. He just wanted to make the Dharma available for everybody, people he would never meet, which is wonderful, actually, when you think of it. And the flavour of the Dharma has changed as it's come to the West, not just because we don't wear little wooden shoes or sit on tatami mats. The way we teach is different. The way we learn, it may be different. But the Dharma is the same. The way we teach may continue to change. Some of our forms change. But we have to be very careful, all of us, not to dilute the teaching with our Western tendency to make everything explicable in scientific terms and bring it down to a little thingy that we can put in the closet and bring out on Sundays or whatever. I keep going on about this because it seems there's this tendency to just small the teaching down to something little uncomfortable and it just becomes a self-help thing. Well, it's too big for that. It's big. How can you explain something like that Sagaki ceremony we did yesterday? How do you explain that? It's not just theatrics. There's a lot more going on, whether we see it or not. I am certain that there are all kinds of beings unseen who come and receive the Dharma and receive the essence of the food that we offer, or that offering we make. We don't look to see who's, taking it. We just put it out there for everybody. How do you explain that? Science? I don't think so, It's a lot bigger. It's all a lot bigger than we can see. The Dharma is vast. So we reach up to it and we let it fill our life. And that's our talk for the day.